Cutters, Degrassi, Unpopular Opinions. Hey there, Heather, ho there, it's Jeff Cutter Diamond. Welcome to another Cutter, Degrassi, Unpopular Opinion. And this is number 198 in this series. I know what 199 and 200 are, and I'm going to do it without Reddit's participation, which is unusual, but I know what I'm doing. So anyway, I did a Reddit post, let's see, 9 days ago, and this is for contacts being taped on June 18th, 2023. It's weird how I do like unpopular opinions on back-to-back days, but anyway, it doesn't matter. It says Liberty's issues with season 5 pregnancy amble could have a deep meaning with the parents. And I said, let's look at the facts. Liberty does her best to cover up her pregnancy, even though subtle hints are put in place, and Danny knew about it, as in Liberty's brother, and wanted to out Liberty and JT to their parents. And I feel Liberty was not happy if her parents had to get involved. But it was going to come out soon, like all that. Let's not forget, and I don't know if it was the season 5 finale, when she has issues with the exam worth 30% of her grade because of possible postpartum issues, and with the fact that her adopted baby is going to move to Seattle. The baby being adopted moving to Seattle. But instead of sympathizing with their daughter with her issues, they berate her for not doing well in the exam, in a way saying nothing is worth more than doing well in school. Sheep manure move, you two. Well, I said, sheep shit move. I understand about her parents being successes and driving forces that pushed Liberty and Danny to do well and have a grave grabber mentality. But possibly the mom not having postpartum after having both kids / hiding her issues. You know, the driving forces. But still, I didn't like the stance the parents did and all that. What are your thoughts? Have at it. Okay, so here's the context. So it's season 4. At the end of season 4, Liberty was craving pickles on the set of the Jay and Silent Bob movie. Ashley notices it. And people were like, that's weird. Liberty doesn't eat pickles. But soon it comes out as Liberty is pregnant, as she tells JT about it. She's 4 months pregnant. And then all of a sudden, JT crashes his car. And people thought it was funny. But the fact of the matter is that JT decides he needs to step up to the plate and do something for Liberty. So he quits his job at the TV station and wants to get a high-paying job. He gets one at a pharmacy, being a pharmaceutical assistant. There he bumps into Jay, who tells him that, you know, people like OxyContin and people will sell their own mothers to get this stuff and will pay you well. So JT contemplates it. Meanwhile, he and Liberty can't find a place to stay because no one wants to rent to a pregnant teenager. And also JT's grandmother, who's essentially raising JT, basically doesn't want anything to do with the kids, thinking that JT's going to walk out on it, like JT's dad walked out on JT and his mom. Liberty tells JT that his grandmother's a lamb compared to her parents, if they knew what was going on. So, of course, JT does the pharmaceutical stuff, steals the OxyContin, bumps into a drug lord, and basically Liberty tells him not to do it anymore. So JT wants to quit it, but the guy basically threatens him, and JT realizes that he's in too deep with the drug guy, and the fact that he could be in deep trouble for the OxyContin, so he decides to overdose on drugs. And Jay, in one of his only good moments, sorry, that's what I'm saying, actually tries to get JT off the stuff and, you know, calls 911. JT's stomach is pumped. Thankfully, the drugs are out of the system. He has to go through 24-hour suicide watch. He has to go through drug rehab and all that stuff. Liberty is shocked why JT would do that. And there were hints that JT may have done it on purpose. But, you know, Liberty realizes that JT can't be the perfect father, so she decides to go through adoption and all that. And Liberty's dad, thankfully, decides that he's going to talk to the pharmaceutical guy and set up some kind of plea deal for JT. So JT gets away with it, partially. But JT and Liberty are broken up. Liberty gives birth to the baby who will be adopted, and now the family's moving to Seattle, so Liberty's upset. She tries to do her exam. JT says, that's a tough exam. How did you do? Oh my God, I didn't really write things down. Of course, Liberty's parents hear about this and berate her, not realizing that Liberty could have postpartum and depression because of the fact that her baby was moving to Seattle. They just tell her to suck it up, Buttercup, and refuse to let the issue die, saying nothing's worth more than grades. Liberty raids her parents' liquor cabinet and drinks a lot. But Danny and Derek stare at her. But Derek, before his douchey face, let's not forget that Derek had a good face. And Derek said that he was adopted too, but his mom put a memory chest for him so that when he was old enough, he could see it. So that's what Liberty does. Liberty and Danny get in trouble for drinking their parents' liquor, but Liberty feels better about herself. But of course, Liberty still has the thoughts of a kid in season 6 while watching JT grow close to Mia and her kid Isabella. I did an unpopular opinion about Liberty's jealousy towards JT in season 6. But yeah, this was huge because Liberty, her pregnancy angle was not done well, and we all know that. But the simple fact is there was an ingredient. Her parents basically just didn't really care about Liberty's feelings. Postpartum is a thing, So let's get to the comments. Cheetah Roar said, it never sat right with me how JT wanted her to give her baby up or abort it, but then he went to and dated Mia and acted like a dad to her daughter. I would have been pissed. Well, that's fair enough. I forgot JT wanted her to give up the baby or abort it. I thought JT for sure was going to step up to be a good dad and wanted the baby. I guess I missed that part. But anyway, Buffalo Queen has a lot of things. So she's going to ramble. So, all right, Accomplished Cup, one of my favorite Reddit people said, quote, this was the problem with the pregnancy storyline. It was extremely realistic, but they focused on JT, not Liberty. Her parents could have easily helped them pay for childcare while they attended school, but they forced her to give the baby up for adoption and ignored how it traumatized her. They should have focused more on her issues with her parents and why she covered it up for so long. And I'm especially sure they do put on her to do well, and even how they probably didn't give her the sex talk. That's a good point. That's a very good point. Is that, it should have been with the parents. Yeah, that's what I felt. That was the vibe I felt, is that her parents basically had issues with Liberty and just didn't listen to Liberty's problems. Someone said that, they grew up as the good one and all that, and they talked about and stuff. But anyway, okay, so Buffalo Queen. Now, let me see. Okay, I'm going to try to paraphrase as much as I can. Buffalo Queen said she recently watched that episode. 2 things stood out to me. One, the way Liberty's parents talked to her, it was horrific. They coldly and bluntly told her that despite agreeing to an open adoption and some sort of contact with her infant son, was literally moving to another country 1,000 miles away. When she becomes upset and brings up the open adoption agreement, her dad says they can do whatever they want. He's their child now, and they have a right to move. Which is true, but there was no love, no empathy in the delivery or aftermath of the news that was traumatic for her. Then, when she shows, again, obvious signs that her mental health issues are declining, specifically the testing, her parents lash out at her, suddenly not even bothering to start an exam where such a big percentage of her grade should have been the reddest of flags cause for concern. But her dad says, right before the house for a date night with her mom, says, I don't even know my own daughter anymore. As if he even tried. Liberty gets drunk and has a moment with Derek about his adoption and has mom left a treasure chest. And basically they put Liberty and JT put a treasure chest to send her a son. The parents were awful and unsupportive and cold and all that. So yeah, everything, and the parents were upset. I mean, come on. Grounded for the drinking and broken glass ordeal, I think it was necessary. And then she said, the other thing that bothered me was this was one of the instances early in Derek's character development when I was going to have some positive growth and maturity. He was the good guy and the only character to show Liberty empathy and support when she was spiraling. Unfortunately, though, he dropped deeply. Although the perennial bullying thing was significant in season 6. Yeah. So that makes a lot of sense. Yeah, so Buffalo Queen said what I'm thinking about the whole thing with her parents and all that. I know they're okay parents and all that, and they're doing what they can and all that, and I understand their point of view, but it just seemed to the viewer and a lot of us that they just didn't really care about what Liberty felt. kind of pathetic. But when you look at things, it's that, as caring as they seem to be, they didn't really care about Liberty's problems and all that. I understand why the parents said they have the open adoption agreement and they can move and whatever they want. Fair enough, but they could just say, well, that's just the way it is, but we'll get some help. And, you can deal with your kid and make contact with them. But no, they didn't do that. They just coldly and bluntly said stuff. I think they just basically didn't want that kid to ruin their lives. All that, the parents' lives, and Liberty's life. And all that. But of course, Liberty gets jealous of what JT does. I mean, JT, I think, was trying to prove that he would have been a good dad to Liberty, their son. But Liberty pushed him away. I know everyone shits on Liberty's character for that. But, the writers are to blame too, all that. They didn't write Liberty's character right. And the funny thing was that in the whole pregnancy angle is that they didn't show Liberty being scored for her pregnancy. They didn't show Emma or Manny's reaction to Liberty being pregnant at all. They didn't really say much. So it would have been nice to see that with foresight and all that. And the pregnancy thing being more about Liberty than just JT's crapola. But yeah, the writers did Liberty wrong. I'm sorry, that's the way it is. Anyway, I'm Jeff Diamond. I do.